Okay, so this is the Aeris F10 version 2 freediving watch. I've been using this watch for about 8 months now, and I thought I'd just let you guys know how it's been going for me so far. First thing I want to say about this is that it is pure freediving watch. It does not have any scuba functions whatsoever. And I know a lot of the watches out there that a lot of freedivers are using do have some scuba functions on it, like the D4, for example. This watch does not have any scuba functions whatsoever, so you just need to be aware of that in case you do scuba dive at all. Assuming that you really are only going to be freediving and you really want a dedicated freediving watch, the Aeris F10 version 2 is definitely a good choice. Just looking first at the outside of the watch, the digits are really big and clear. It's some of the biggest digits and one of the clearest displays that I've seen on a dive watch. So I really like that. The buttons on the outside of the watch, really big and easy to press. Even if you've got gloves on, thick 5mm gloves, you can still press these buttons fairly easily. The strap, only a single row of holes here. It's only a single clasp. I would have preferred a double one, or at least a thicker one like on the D4, but anyway, it does the job. One of the most important features of the Aeris F10, you see this back plate here is unscrewable, so that you can, they give you a little tool to unscrew that, allowing you to replace the battery yourself, which is a really great function. I'm not sure how many of the competitors can do that. All right. Back to the display, looking back to the display, since I'm not in the water, so I can't actively demo the dive functions, I'll just show you the history. Oh wait, there's the temperature first, 30 degrees. You can just always single tap if you're in the water just to check the water temperature. If I hold longer, okay, this is the history. It's just telling me about my last free dive session. See, I had 12 dives. I can scroll through them. Okay, so here I can see on my 11th dive, I went down to 24 meters. I was underwater for 1 minute 20, and my surface interval before the dive was 4 minutes 46. And I can scroll through these dives. Yep. And I won't show you now, but you can go into each dive, so you can and play it back, so you can see the dive time elapsing and the depth changing as you're going down. So you can replay them. Though I think that function is more useful to do that via the computer if you have the cable. Let me get out of the history. This is showing me my best dive. My deepest dive on the last day that I was freediving. I think this is the longest dive on the last day I was freediving. My average. All right, I'm back to the clock. I'm going to put the watch into freediving mode. Okay, pretty much similar to what I just showed you in the history. It's counting down my surface interval. It's telling me how many times I've gone down. Obviously, I can't demo this because I'm not in the water. But yeah, very similar to the history. Okay, I think the thing that this watch is most famous for is the amount of alarms, because it's got a lot of free dive specific alarms on it. So if I'm going to hold these two buttons, I'm going into the set alarms. If you are going to be purchasing this watch, you can go and just search for what alarms this has by yourself. I don't want to go through all of them because there are so many. It's audio on, surface recovery time on, off, extended dive time. This is to alert you if you've been down for a certain amount of time. This is repeating depth interval. This is a depth alarm 1. I've set my depth alarm 1 so that it beeps on my way down at 10 meters. I set it there just so I know at 10 meters I can stop kicking so hard My depth alarm 2, I set at 15 meters, just so that I know that I can start to free fall around here. And then at, I think I've got, there's my depth alarm, my third depth alarm. I just set it at 20 meters when I know I'm nearing the bottom of the ocean, and I can turn my head up and see where I am. So I'm using those depth alarms. Another interesting thing is in the set units. All right, set units. Scroll through here. This is probably one of the most useful features that is different between the Aeris F10 and Aeris F10 version 2, is that you can change the water type between sea and fresh. Oops, yeah, I've gone back out of there now. But just in terms of the sea and freshwater, if you're going to be doing training in a quarry, you're not going to be in the sea, then the freshwater is definitely a good function to have. This function that I'm looking at now is the depth activation. So now it's set to activate at 0.6 meters, which is very shallow. And you'll want a very shallow depth activation if you're going to be doing any dynamic training in a swimming pool. Then you're definitely going to want the Aeris F10 for this very shallow depth activation. Or there, I'm scrolling through all the options. Units. Of course, I want Celsius. That's just the watch's light, and I forget what these are. All right, I think that is about it for this watch. Serial number of the watch back here. Like I said, I've been using it for about 8 months. I am I'd say I'm an intermediate freediver now. I've been freediving for about a year. And I'm generally going down to around 25, 26 meters. And it's gone well for me. I do miss the scuba functions, because I do like to go scuba diving every once in a while. And with this watch, I just can't use it for that. But I knew it was a freediving watch when I bought it, so I guess I can't complain. Overall, the Aeris F10, a great freediving watch, and I highly recommend it.